All
Now?
right. Okay, we're live. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Yay! Yay!
Technology.
Hello, friend. How are you?
So good. I was like, technology is not going to get in the way of a hangout today. No way.
Apologies to everyone who thought we were going to start at 10. We meant 10:15. Actually, Facebook meant 10:15. They were like, they weren't ready for all of this.
No, they just needed to settle in. Here it's like 1:15 here, so maybe people just needed to settle into their lunch break. Technology just kind of like wasn't our buddy this morning, but it's gonna be a fast one. This is like an easy, super easy recipe. So I'm super excited to be here. I'm Meg. I am the blog manager for California Grown, and I'm here with Kate Ramos, and we are here today celebrating her brand new cookbook, Plant Powered Mexican. Hi, Kate.
So excited to be here. I'm so excited to be cooking with my dear friend Meg, and thank you so much to California Grown for hosting us today. My name is Kate Ramos. If you don't know who I am, I write a food blog called Hola Jalapeno, and that is where I share Mexican inspired recipes. And I am so excited because I have my very first cookbook coming out a week from today. And here it is. It's called Plant Powered Mexican, and it is full of plant-based Mexican recipes using tons of veggies. And because I live in California, everything that you see in here is California. Very pumped to share one of the recipes with you guys today.
I'm really excited. I had the pleasure of meeting up with you a few weeks ago and getting my hands on an advance copy of the book. And I have literally just been like working my way through it. And it's the recipes I've made so far. I put it on my blog is thismessisours.com, where I am full-time when I'm not on California Grown. And I already shared one of your recipes there, which was a fire roasted tomato tortilla soup. And holy moly, that has changed my weeknight game. It is made in an Instant Pot. It comes together so quickly, and it tastes like you've been cooking it all day. And my 10-year-old loves it, Kate.
Oh, great. Well, if you guys don't know, Meg and I know each other from years ago when Meg used to live in California. And so we are good friends and have been cooking together for a really long time. So that is how we are associated, just if you were wondering. But Meg is also a fabulous cook, so that means so much to me that you liked the recipes. That's wonderful.
I mean, I was craving like authentic Mexican flavors here in Atlanta, and it's hard finding them. And as soon as your book, like I got my hands on it, I was like, here we go. I'm going to start making everything from this that I can. And we have just been loving it. My husband's a vegetarian. He's been a vegetarian since he was about 13, 14 years old. I won't say how old he is now, but you know, we're in our 40s.
A couple years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a life commitment at this point. So, you know, he's really knowledgeable about vegetarian food, especially his favorite is Mexican food. You know that, my husband Todd and our husbands are friends. Our families go so far back. And everything I've made for him out of this, he's like, dang, this is really good.
So happy. Yeah, so I mean, the whole reason I wrote the book, unlike Todd, our family is not exclusively vegetarian, but we are really trying to eat more plant-based foods just simply because of our health. It's better for the environment, all those reasons. And I love veggies. So all those reasons, you know, we're trying to work more plant-based meals into our diet. And I'm sure like you, I get a lot of readers who ask me things like, okay, I like to eat, you know, I want to cook more vegetarian meals, but what can I make for my family? You and I both have small kids. What can I make for my family that's easy and that will feel like dinner, you know, not like a salad or something like that. That's satisfying, right?
Well, and something that like the adults like I have this age gap in my family. I have, you know, we have the adults. I am not a vegetarian, my husband is, so there's differences there. We have a 19-year-old daughter, and then we have a 10-year-old son. So that's a really huge gap in like taste buds and flavor preferences. preferences. And when you can find meals that hit every single person's like pleasure point, that was a solid win, Kate. And you have done that. Everything I've made from your book, you have done it. I am so impressed. I'm like the proud book auntie over here. I'm telling everyone I know.
Thank you so much. The thing that we're making today is one of my favorite recipes in the book because it is so easy and, like I was saying, super satisfying. It's like cozy comfort food, but it's still plant-based and you feel like you're really getting something ultra satisfying that maybe takes, like, how long does it take you to make? Like maybe 30 minutes? Possibly?
Not even. I was really surprised. I've already made a batch this morning because I wanted to make sure people saw what it looked like coming out of the oven. And it was only like my second time making this particular recipe. I made we're gonna make the enchilada sauce for this, and I made it a few times. But it was so fast. I was doing other things. It was just like done. Hardly any cleanup. Husband was happy because I smelled good. He's like, enchiladas later.
Yeah. So should we dive in? Should we get started?
Let's do it. Okay.
So I'm just going to show everybody what we're making. So these are the weeknight. Oh, I'll remove my Post-it. These are the weeknight cheesy enchiladas. So these are like more of a Tex-Mex enchilada as compared to like an enchilada you might find if you travel in Mexico. But they are so good, so simple, and you actually, even though you have to make your own enchilada sauce, it's still a very easy process. So that's what you're going to start out doing, right?
Right. And I would suggest, if you do nothing else with this recipe, do the enchilada sauce, because I was calling Kate the other day. I was like, dude, I put this in beans. I put it on toast. I put it in eggs. I like put it in everything. And I just keep making more because it's like stupid easy. I hope we can say that. I don't know. All right, Kate, do you want me to walk through the ingredients, or you just want to go through them as we go?
Everybody, what's in it first?
Okay. So this is fire roasted tomatoes. It's 14-ounce can, right? And I didn't know this before I started working with California Grown, which I thought was really cool. Canned tomatoes are available year-round, and they're from California. I didn't even know that. Did you know that? You probably did.
I probably learned that a couple years ago, but yeah, almost all the tomatoes that you would get, canned tomatoes, are grown right here in California.
I was like, never in my life did I stand at the tomato aisle and go, thank you, California, but I do now, like the canned tomato aisle. So we're going with fire roasted tomatoes, and that imparts a lot of flavor. That was a really good call.
Because there's not a lot of ingredients in this sauce, and you don't have to cook it. Like a lot of enchilada sauces, you have to cook down until they're thick. And this one, it's just really simple, all put together in the blender. So I wanted to be really careful about choosing ingredients that are gonna be really flavorful all on their own.
Yeah, you did a great job. So this is just, you call for a white onion. For some reason, in my grocery store was out, but I am using a yellow onion. That's okay, right?
Fine. I mean, white onions are more traditional in Mexican cooking just because they have that really bright, a little bit sweet flavor. And the yellow onions have more of like a buttery caramelized flavor. But, if all you have is yellow, then that will totally work.
If somebody had like a red, could they throw that in there?
I mean, like all the different onions are going to add a little bit of a different flavor profile, but none of it's going to be bad by any means.
Okay. I've got like one with a sticky peel, so it's taken me a minute. Also, I learned this morning, this is a batch of criers. Do you ever get that? Where like everyone you cut into, you just start crying?
Yes, right? I know. I've seen so many people say like, give these little tips for how to not, how to cut an onion so it doesn't make you cry. Let me tell you, none of them work. None of them. If anyone says that they have a tried and true way to keep you from crying from an onion, they are lying.
They're totally lying.
The only thing that I think kind of works is if you keep your onions in the refrigerator and you cut them when they're cold. But
interesting. I'd always thought that you could, I thought that it was better not to do that. That's another topic for another day.
But that's the thing. You don't want to store your onions in the refrigerator. It's not really good for them. So it's kind of a toss-off.
Yeah,
the only benefit is that it would stop you from crying. So
Okay.
if you really hate that about onions, put them in your fridge. If not, please.
Put a lid on it so I don't like start streaming the mascara. I did put on, I mean, I was glad I made this in advance because I put on waterproof mascara because like when I made it earlier, it was just like, do this. Okay.
Prepared. You're always so prepared.
Man, gotta have the waterproof mascara. Okay, so now I'm gonna chop up 2 cloves of garlic in there.
And then I think that's really about it, right? Oh, you have some salt, oregano, cumin, and then you're good to go. And the chipotles, yeah. So the nice thing about this sauce is it has the fire roasted tomatoes, it has the chipotle, so both things are smoked. You know, they have that kind of like smoky flavor, and that's where you're gonna get a lot of flavor from this sauce.
Well, and I think like the people think these are really hot, but you can adjust. Like some people think they're super hot, right? Chipotles, like the perception is. You can adjust the heat level of your own enchilada sauce by how many you put in there. So the batch I made earlier was for Todd and I, so I made it super spicy with 4, but I'm only gonna put 2 in there because Cash is gonna.
If you are really, really sensitive to heat, you can just use the adobo sauce, the sauce that the chipotles come in, and not add the actual chilies, and you'll still get that smoky flavor.
That's super smart. Okay, so that's it. I mean, seriously, like if we weren't recording and didn't want to blow your eardrums up, we would blend this right now. But because we're recording and you're here, I made some in advance. So let me get it for you.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, honestly, you can never have too much enchilada sauce as far as I'm concerned. And that sauce that Meg is making, you know, she did mention that she has made it for other purposes, but it also goes with another recipe in the book, a different kind of enchilada. And this is a enchilada casserole. And I'll just show you the picture of it in the book. This guy over here. And this one is made in the Instant Pot. So if you've never made a enchilada, you know, here's the finished product. If you've never made a casserole or that kind of dish in an Instant Pot, it actually is super cool and really fast. So you could totally make it in the oven if you wanted to, but that is in the Instant Pot chapter. See,
is this too loud for you?
Your beautiful voice.
Oh, good. Okay, because I thought it'd be easier if I warmed the tortillas over here. That way you're not looking at me over here. Okay, so Kate, I'm gonna warm up the tortillas, which is the first step. You're gonna need like 16 of them, right? I do have a tortilla question though, and maybe you can answer that, and then you can talk to people about a drink or something. I don't know.
Hit me with your tortilla question first.
Okay, so the batch I made, we're gluten-free, but the batch I made earlier today, I used a yellow corn tortilla. Right now I'm using a white corn tortilla. The yellow corn tortillas tend to like crack on me a little bit more. Is there a reason for that?
Except that maybe the batch that you have were older and perhaps more dry. So the whole idea with warming them first is to prevent any cracking or splitting from happening when you're rolling the tortilla. That's why you can't really skip that step, and you do need to do them like one at a time in the pan. And that this is like probably the most time consuming part of the whole process. But it really does prevent cracking and splitting when you're warming, you know, when you're rolling up the enchiladas. So you can use yellow, you can use white. It probably has something to do with how old they might have been. Maybe they were a little bit older. You don't really know when you get them in the grocery store. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, and I noticed like the one in the bag was crumbling, and I was like, that's weird because I bought them the same day, which was like 2 days ago. But
from when they got made, it depends on when they were packaged.
Well,
if you really no, it has nothing to do with you. I mean, the heating them up is kind of like a way to prevent that from happening, but it doesn't matter if, you know, it's not going to make that much difference if your tortillas are like super old. So if you are fortunate enough to live someplace where you have a Latin market where they make their own tortillas, that is the best bet, because you'll know that they're fresh and they were made that day, and you're not going to have any problems whatsoever. But I understand not most, but a lot of people don't have access to like a Latin market in their neighborhood or anywhere close by. So possibly look on the package to see if it has like a sell by date, and then pick the one that has, the latest sell by date.
I didn't even think about that. I just like ordered them on Instacart and was like, it'll be fine. And I was like, that's really weird. I normally just always get the white corn, but I wanted to try the yellow. So maybe it just doesn't sell through as fast here. That makes a lot of sense.
It really could depend on, the packaging and when it hit the store shelf and when they were made and all that stuff. So, it doesn't matter though. The type of corn doesn't matter. But I will say that flour tortillas are not going to work in this recipe. No. So don't try that because they will fall apart.
Oh, so good to know. I'm glad we talked about tortillas then, because someone might have tried that. Okay, so in your recipe, you call for like a cast iron pan or I'm not going to say it. What was the name of the pan? Come on. Okay, so I have a cast iron skillet. It's really big, so I'm putting 2 in at a time. But I'm putting them in a little tortilla saver with just a little linen towel, so it stays nice and warm. But somebody could just totally do this in the towel on their counter. They don't.
Tortilla warmer, just like a clean kitchen towel, wrap them up just so they stay nice and warm. Because if they get cold, by the time you roll them up, it kind of defeats the purpose of warming them up in the first place. So just a clean kitchen towel would work great.
And then just on medium heat. So if anyone's wondering, like we're not charring them at all. They're just
you're not charring them. You want to make sure you're not heating them up long enough that they get hard. The whole idea is to make them more flexible. So that's why you're doing this warming process. And I would say that, a lot of people warm tortillas by like putting them in the microwave. I don't really suggest that because I think it makes them rubbery and just not very tasty. And then another thing people do a lot is to wrap them in like a huge stack and then wrap them in foil and put them in the oven. That's work, but you're not going to get that like nice light toasty flavor from each tortilla by doing it individually.
Yeah, it's a totally different feel too. Like as I'm sitting here, like when they come out of a microwave, because I'm guilty of doing that on a hectic weeknight too. I'm totally guilty. But there's a different feel, like even in your hand to the tortilla warmed in a skillet as opposed to coming out of the microwave for sure. Like I'm feeling it.
They get more steamed than really toasted, so they'll be wet and like kind of rubbery and
chewy.
I mean, it works. Not that it doesn't work, but like this is a pretty simple recipe, guys. So just like go through the extra.
This is the time investment. And I could do other things. Like the other night I was making this because I was like, I want to know what it tastes like, and I need an easy dinner. And so I was like warming tortillas and like while they were warming up, I would go like wash a dish, put it in the dishwasher, whatever. And by the time like I rolled them all, I was done with all the dishes I used. Like it was
there you go.
In the oven. I was like, I can make a salad. Maybe I'll get out some, a little side dish, some beans or something, because I have time, which I never have time. But okay, so we were talking about, while we love sharing easy dinner recipes, we also really love cocktails and delicious drinks. And you created an ebook with California Grown that anyone that buys your book, they can then send in their receipt for a free download of the ebook, and it has cocktails and desserts. And so while I'm warming and start rolling, why don't you talk about drinks?
So, like I said, the cookbook, this book comes out a week from today on the 23rd. So if you pre-order it today or anytime before next Tuesday, it will arrive on your doorstep on Tuesday, which is awesome. And in the meantime, you can get a free ebook that I wrote in collaboration with California Grown that is a companion to this book. So this book is full of dinner recipes. They're all dinner recipes. And then there's like 5 or 6 side dishes. As a companion book, California Grown and I wrote an ebook, which I printed out so I could show you, called Mexican Inspired Desserts and Drinks. So like, say you want to have a dinner party, you choose your entree from your plant-powered Mexican book, you choose your side dish, and then you go to your ebook and you can choose a cocktail or a drink, a non-alcoholic drink if you wish, and a dessert to serve with it. So all you have to do to get the ebook is to email me, which is kate@holajalapeno.com. That you get from pre-ordering your book, and then I will email you the free ebook. And so one of the drinks that is in this ebook, these are never seen before recipes. They're not on my blog. They're not in the cookbook. They're all brand new recipes, never published before. And one of the drinks in the ebook is a Mezcal Negroni, which is like one of my favorite drinks when I've kind of had a day, which if I'm totally honest with you, the cheesy enchiladas are also something when I want at the end of a day, like when you've had a day.
It's a pairing.
It is a pairing. So this is the Mezcal Negroni. Here's a picture of it. I'm going to make it for you right now because it's 10:30 in the morning on a Tuesday and I need a Negroni.
Well, I'm drinking a non-alcoholic drink from your blog, and there's a version in your cookbook, and we can talk about that later too for anybody that's earlier in the day. After
we gather the ingredients to make this, and then maybe have it this afternoon, this evening. Totally go ahead and do this. But I love this drink. If you guys love Negronis, well, if you're like me, you like things that are a little bit bitter. Like I like my coffee black. I like a good bitter cocktail. This is that. I love a Negroni. If you're familiar with Negronis, they are your typical, like usually made with gin, Campari, and some vermouth. This subs mezcal for the gin, and it's lovely with the enchiladas that have that like kind of smoky enchilada sauce, right? So and they're so simple to make. This is the best part because like at the end of a day, you don't want to like have to shake a cocktail or blend something or whatever. This is like you stir it in the cocktail shaker and you pour it out and you drink it and you're like, thank God this day is over.
You can do that while you like warm tortillas.
So all I have some ice and I have the sweet vermouth in my cocktail shaker right now. This takes two kinds of vermouth, dry vermouth and sweet vermouth. And if you're not familiar with vermouth, it is not a distilled spirit like the other alcohols in this drink. It is actually a fortified wine, and many of which are made right here in California, which is kind of cool. They're fortified with different spices, different herbs. They have different blends. I love vermouth. I like drinking sweet vermouth over ice with like a lemon wedge just on its own. So I highly suggest if you're not familiar with different vermouths to pick one up at your like liquor store or grocery store and try some. I think they're just delicious.
I learn something cool every time we cook together. I didn't even know that about vermouth. That's really cool.
I really like vermouth, like just on its own. I think it's a lovely like little aperitif. It doesn't have a ton of, the alcohol level is pretty low. It's just delicious. Okay, so in here I have my sweet vermouth. I have my ice. And then I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of mezcal. So if you're not familiar, it's an agave spirit like tequila. But the agave is roasted instead of steamed, so it has a slightly smoky flavor. And then I'm going to add my Campari, so 1/2 ounce of Campari. Campari is a bitter liqueur from Italy. Negroni's nice and red. And then I'm going to add dry vermouth, so 1/2 ounce. So I have 1/2 ounce sweet vermouth, 1/2 ounce dry vermouth, 1/2 ounce Campari, and 1.5 ounces of mezcal. And then you take I have a nifty bar spoon. If you don't have one of these, you can use a regular spoon. And you just kind of want to stir it around so that the liquors get nice and chilled, because you're going to strain this and you don't serve it over ice. So you want to make sure you stir really good to give it some time to really get nice and ice cold. That should do good. You know when it's ready, when you can feel the outside of your cocktail shaker and it's kind of beating with sweat, and you can feel how cold it is. Then you know it's ready to go. And then I have my cocktail glass. which I like to put some ice in the cocktail glass just to chill the glass down before I pour the cocktail in, which I'm going to dump out over here. And then you just strain the ice out into your glass. So isn't that a gorgeous color?
That is beautiful. I mean, that is such a pretty pink.
And then I like to serve it with a little orange slice, or like you can do a little orange peel. You don't have
so beautiful.
And
it's super classic. I like
cheers.
it.
At 10 o'clock in the morning.
You can claim my time zone at the moment. Okay. So let me catch you up while Kate was making her cocktail that I'm super jealous of, but I'm drinking something delicious too. She'll talk about that in a minute. I was proceeding with the enchiladas. So Kate, make sure I did this right. I went ahead and warmed all my tortillas. They are in the warmer. I have gone ahead and put California grown olive oil into my baking dish and wiped it all around, and it added about a half cup of the enchilada sauce in the bottom. Am I right on? Okay, so now I'm just rolling. I'm just rolling. I'm grabbing a tortilla. I'm putting a little cheese. I'm not even measuring. I mean, maybe I should, but so now.
Think about this recipe, like if you've made it a couple times, you kind of get an idea and you just go with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, and I imagine you could do this with other things too, right? If you like to put some black beans in there, like pop open a can of black beans or toss some like roasted veggies from a few nights ago in there and use them up. I imagine there's a million and one ways you could do this, but it's so easy. And I'm using shredded cheese. I like nice big shreds, so I shredded my own. But the cheese is also from California. It's like a theme.
I mean, I was so, I grew up in Iowa, so I'm a total Midwest girl. And I assumed that like all cheese came from Wisconsin forever. But come to find out that a lot, like almost most cheese that you buy in the grocery store is made on California dairy farms. And like 90% of California dairy farms are family owned. So when you buy California cheese, you're directly supporting California dairy farmers and their families, which is really awesome, I think.
I mean, it's like supporting your neighbors. I mean, it's like the
I want to preface that by saying there's nothing wrong with cheese from Wisconsin, also delicious. But I just didn't realize the magnitude of California dairy. Yeah.
I had no idea. Like I had no idea until I moved to California and I lived there for 8 years, how much of our nation's food is grown there. And it gave me this all new appreciation level for the state, and for I came to love farm workers and growers and learn more about food. I tried more fresh food in California, more fresh vegetables and fruit than I had ever tried in my whole life in all the other states I'd lived in collectively.
I think when I moved to California like 20 years ago, so a long time ago. But I had my first artichoke here. I had my first beet here. I had my first fig. Well, that's not true. I had my first fig in Spain. I had my second fig in California. I mean, my first pomegranate, my first, I don't know, guava, passion fruit, you name it. Like
it was like kid in a candy store. When I went to the Hollywood Farmers Market, this first farmers market I ever went to in California. My husband, he is from California, and he was like, "You're into food. This is where we're going." Because I knew like we were moving there, and this was like over a decade ago. I knew we were moving there, and he was like, "This is gonna hook you." If nothing else did, which I was already hooked. But we walked in. I mean, it is like food as far as the eye can see in every direction, and like vegetables you've never even seen before. And I just walk around like this.
When I go to the farmer's market, I see things that I've never seen before.
I love watching your stories from the farmer's market. It makes me it transports me there. That is always number one on my list when we go back to California. We still have lots of family there, and our friends are all there. And so we go there quite a bit, and it's always top on our list. Like, get the family together, everybody get up Saturday or Sunday morning, whenever it is, and head down to the farmer's market.
matter where you are in California, it's the farmers market is always the best place in town, hands
Yes.
down, to get to if you love food, to discover new things and to buy really fresh and
Oh
delicious
my God.
foods.
And to like really learn where your food comes from, like talk to the people that grow it. Like that's how I became passionate about ingredients that I thought I actually didn't like. Like I tried all sorts of different things because the people that grew them were so passionate about them and telling me different ways that they experienced them and you know how they built their life around this, you know, fruit or vegetable and growing it and loving it. And I was just like, holy cow, my whole perception's like blown wide open of this little juju
And
brewery it was.
I got so much inspiration for the book. You know, when I was writing this book from the farmers market, because I would come up with ideas for things that I thought I might want to make, but then I was like, well, what kind of vegetable goes with that idea? You know, because there's a lot of classic Mexican dishes, you know, we all are familiar with tacos and enchiladas and things like that, but there are other ones that, you know, are a little bit more like, for example, I have you know, a number of like, you know, like I wanted to do a pozole recipe, which is a very traditional Mexican soup that's typically made with pork. And so I was like, or chicken. And so I was kind of thinking like, what can I make that's like equally as comforting, as satisfying, you know. And I went to the farmers market, and it was like a fall day, and I went to the farmers market, and I was like, what can I put in there? And I found the most beautiful mushrooms, and I was like, that's it. That, you know, I made a mushroom pozole, and it is so good. I hope everybody has a chance to give it a try. But you are not missing a thing. Those mushrooms are like the perfect meat substitute for this pozole recipe.
My next to try recipe out of your book, and I'm sure this came from one of those farmers market mornings, was the carrot barbacoa. Now, I love barbacoa, which is a classic meat dish, but you do it with carrots, and that blows my mind because barbacoa is spicy, but it does have that like kind of sweet taste, like underlying taste to it when you eat it. I am so excited about this. I'm ready to go. I'm stocked on carrots.
So good. And then my favorite thing about that recipe is actually the charred jalapeno yogurt sauce. Carrot barbacoa, but you have to make the sauce. The sauce is so good.
I'm making everything. It's going to be like an experience. There's going to be California wine. There's going to be your barbacoa. And I don't know, we'll maybe like make an at-home date night. We do that a lot. Fancy dinner like that. Look what I did while we were talking.
Good, Meg. I wish I was with you. I want to have them for lunch.
I wish you were with me too. Okay, so this is the rest of the enchilada sauce, which would be in your blender if you did this at home. And I just pour it right on top. And then I have like probably too much cheese going on over there. Now
I don't even think that's a thing.
Well, I think I measured out. Your recipe calls for what? 4 cups? I just emptied out 2 bags. I was like, I like cheese.
You can have too much cheese. I really don't. I don't think that's possible.
No. So you can shred it however much you want, but this just goes right on top. Okay. And then Kate, this, and I'm gonna let you say it because you say it so beautifully.
I lied earlier when I said I didn't have any drink recipes in the cookbook. I have one drink recipe in the cookbook, and it's for Agua de Jamaica, which is what Meg has in her glass there. And the only reason, here it is in the book, the only reason that I added this to the book was because I have another recipe that uses Jamaica flowers in a sopes recipe. That for you. And so when you make the sopes with the Jamaica as the filling, here are the sopes. So the flowers, the dried flowers that you use to make the drink are the filling in these sopes. And when you soak the Jamaica, you end up with liquid that makes the drink. So why would you ever throw that away? You cannot throw that away. So I added it as a drink to the cookbook because waste not, want not, right? Like it would be a sin to throw that away.
Dude, this is like one of my favorite recipes from your blog. Like I know that's silly. There's like probably 1,000 recipes on there. But this is what I make in the summer. Like, this is my equivalent of sweet tea for outside. It's like the hibiscus, the water, you brew it all together and you add the lime and the sugar. Oh my God, it's so good. And you can put tequila in this too.
Makes an amazing margarita right there.
My husband loves this. I love this. And you have a recipe on your website with this, like, cooked down even more as a popsicle, right?
Oh, it's not on my website. I think I put it on Instagram one time. I don't have a recipe on my website, but yeah, you make a syrup. Essentially, you make the agua. You can just use the agua de Jamaica recipe and freeze it. And then I put like chunks of mango in there, or I put chunks of pineapple, or you can leave that out. Or sometimes I like roll it in chili powder. That's really good. Or tahini. Yeah.
My son's on a tahini kick. You would be so proud of him. He was like, we need to have like a backstock, Mom. I like it like jar like this. He's like, we need to. There's just not enough.
They make they make all kinds, like habanero flavor, and they make a hot sauce, and
Okay, yes. I need to Google after this, clearly. All right, I'm gonna, like, magic of TV. I'm gonna take this one to the oven. I'm gonna bring back the one I cooked earlier.
See it, because now I am so hungry. I have not had breakfast yet, so you're actually killing me right now. I might make those when we're done here, so I can have some, because I am like drooling. I'm drooling over here.
Pan, so not magic of TV. I don't own so many white pans, but you guys. Oh my God, it's like bubbling. Okay, so I'm really excited. I'm gonna put one on a plate.
I just want to let everybody know, once again, you can pre-order the book. It comes out next Tuesday. Also, I am going to be doing a really fun giveaway with California Grown that I'm going to announce next week on my Instagram feed, which is at Hola Jalapeno. So you don't want to miss that. It's going to be huge and really fun. I will tell you in advance that the entry to the giveaway is, I want to see your guys' images when you cook stuff from the book. So once you get the cookbook in your hands and you make your first recipe, take a picture, tag it Hola Jalapeno, tag it California Grown, and the winner will get a very special prize. I'm super excited about it. So we're going to be announcing that giveaway. It's going to run through December 15th. So you have plenty of time to cook something up. And then also, I hope that you'll come see me. I have a couple of book signing events. If you live in California, the first will be December 5th in San Francisco, and the second one will be December 11th in Santa Ana, like outside of LA. So you can get all the details for those on my Instagram page as well. And the enchiladas, Meg, are they good? Are they okay?
This is spectacular. And this is the first time I bumped the heat up. Like, made a pan for Todd and I made a pan for Cash. I'm for Chipotles. I'm for Chipotle girl. Dude, this is so good. And I mean, thanks for your tips, because they come out in one piece. I don't know if anybody else, like, they make enchiladas and they feel like they all break together and they're just eating a pile of goo. These really do stay rolled. You can see. Look at that.
Toasted the tortillas first. You toasted the tortillas first. That's why that happens. And that's also why you can't use flour tortillas, because they will just fall apart.
Well, you learned it here. Who knew? Kate, thank you for doing this.
Oh, Meg, thanks so much. It was so wonderful to see you. I love you. I love cooking with you. And I am so excited. Everybody have to get the book. You're gonna love it. There's so many good recipes. This is just one of many. So don't forget also to, you can DM me at Hola Jalapeno the receipt when you pre-order the book, and I will email you the free ebook, or you can shoot me an email with a screenshot of your receipt to kate@holajalapeno.com.
And we have all that information on the California Grown website too. So you just Google, you can't remember all that. Google California Grown, Kate Ramos, or California Grown Plant Powered Mexican, and that post will pop up for you. And the giveaway instructions are in there. And there's another recipe in it too. It's the rice bake, and it also delicious. Shocker. I know.
Thank you everybody for joining us. This was so much fun. I'm gonna go now drink my 10 a.m. Negroni and see where the day leads me.
Eat my lunch.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye, Meg. It was so nice seeing you.
Bye. See you soon.